Hey folks, Farm Tour Tuesday, June 27th, 2023. So I know you guys haven't had a Farm Tour Tuesday in like 3 weeks now, because the last one was on the 30th of last month. I did film one for the 6th, but honestly, like we got it filmed, and by the time I was able to sit down and edit it that week, we'd already changed a lot of things that I had said in that one. So I was like, man, I'm gonna post this, and then immediately thereafter be like, hey, actually, never mind. And so it just feels weird to post that and to just be like, so maybe I'll go back through and post it, still edit it and post it, finish editing it. But it would only be valuable to see what the farm looks like at the time, what the pigs look like at the time. And that's kind of it, because then so many things changed like immediately after that. And I've been juggling with the IPPBA show, which that was the following week. Copa took best intermediate boar. He was the only boar in that class, so don't get excited about that one. Best male overall, which he did have two other boys he was competing against who were stellar looking boys. So that was Jack's boar from Aloha Acres and Chantel's boar from Sniff Ranch. And those two boys were gorgeous. So Copa had some stiff competition for that one. And then overall, he took best in show. So there were 7 pigs. So I'm pretty happy with that. If you guys have followed for a while now, you know that Copa is a generational thing we've been working on. I brought his parents out, or his grandparents, both out from Pennsylvania. They were some of the first, not the first, but some of the first ones we'd gotten. And then we had bred them together for a high COI to try to line breed back to recreate the one we were line breeding back to, because that's what line breeding is. Line breeding isn't just inbreeding. Line breeding is breeding back to an individual that you're trying to compound. And so that's what we're doing. We were trying to recreate their father of the two. They were half siblings that shared that father. So we were trying to line breed back to that father to recreate a pig called Bart. And I think we did it. His father looked great that we had done. It took me like 3 or 4 litters to get what I wanted. And he was pretty great. The only real big flaw he had was that he had 1 pin teat. He had 7-7 with 1 pin, and then he also broke his pecker. That was toast. But, hey, you don't need to leave here. Stay this paddock. I'm just leaned on the gate. So we made him. And then the other half of that was my favorite sow donut. And so that's what he's paired with. So Copa did pretty great. I'm pretty excited about that. He got an 89 out of 100. Fantastic score. Yeah, I'm stoked with that. I have railed on them often enough that I better not ever see a pig scored off one of those that's 100, or I'll have to have a talk with them. Like, we never want to go that high because there's always room for improvement. So, but it is out of 100. So, anywho, yeah, so we did that. That was a lot. It was a lot, but it was a lot of fun too. So, I think I was running on super little sleep. And then we got back from that. I got back Sunday, got everybody moved around. We got the sows worked off. So pulled Oatmeal and Dottie off their piglets. So weaned the piglets then. And then that gave everybody about 3 days, because then Wednesday, that evening about 7:30, we loaded all of them up. So Oatmeal, Dottie, Payday, Biscuit, and Dose. Got all 5 of them loaded up, thrown on the trailer, and we drove out to Maryland. And what was supposed to be a like 16-hour drive with some terrible traffic through St. Louis and through Baltimore, and all the gas stops because our truck gets terrible gas mileage pulling the trailer, and it's driving slow, right? Because we've never driven that far without a little trailer and without a little truck, so we were just kind of like, well, we want to be careful. I want to make sure nothing happens to these pigs or the truck on the way there. They did at the end in Baltimore, of course, in all that traffic. It's, I guess, just slow enough I could hear it. They all laid at the front of the trailer, and we've already got a drop on our ball, and we should just have a straight. And so that wheel kind of sits a little close to the ground, the jack wheel. And so it was dragging the ground because all 5 of them were laying at the front of the trailer. So that was pretty fun. I just kept hearing it scraping in the back there, and I was worried something had broke, and I couldn't get out of traffic because it's like 4-lane traffic, and I'm in the far lane because our exit is supposed to be on the other side. And so finally we managed to get an exit and get off and check it, and it was just them all laying there. So I had to open the door in a parking lot and get in there with them and shift everybody around and move them to the backside. so that there was some back there and some at the front. So we got that taken care of, and then finished the rest of the drive and got them unloaded. There's a beautiful farm out there at Christina Wolfram's farm. They're porky pastures. Seriously, their farm's gorgeous like that. Like, it was beautiful. They're talking about potentially maybe trying to move to southern Missouri, and while I love the landscape here in southern Missouri, we normally get a great amount of rain. I've grown up here my whole life, but gosh, that farm is beautiful. I don't know that I'd want to leave that farm to come somewhere else that I don't know. Which we'll hit on that. You're gonna think I'm crazy for having said that in just a few minutes if you hold in, because I've got a big surprise coming. So we got them dropped off. They're settling and doing good. I've had a ton of updates from her, so that's awesome. I honestly, I got films of me, videos of me hauling them out there and stuff, so that I could send to her to let her know that, here's where we're at, here's how everybody's doing. But gosh, once we got them unloaded from the trailer, I couldn't get any videos. When we were done, she's like, "When do you get any final scratches or anything?" And I was like, "I can't do it. I've had these pigs for years, man. I can't." I just had to turn and kind of walk away. We could go talk about the house and walk around and tour her farm, but I was just like, I can't think about this too much right now. This is a lot for me, because we have more changes than I have told most of you. If you were at the show, you've heard a lot of these changes that are upcoming. But if you weren't at the show, some of this is going to kind of come as a surprise, or at least the extent of it is going to come as a surprise. And that was kind of feeding into that of I really don't, I can't handle saying goodbye to them right now. So we got that done. We got home nice and safe. And then we've just had so much going on too, because now we had a bunch of stuff to try to catch back up on when we got here home. This morning was catching those 2 litters, getting them evaluated and getting them castrated. And then we're leaving Friday for another family vacation to go visit our family in Washington and Oregon again. So it's just kind of back to back, and we didn't mean to schedule all this stuff right around each other, but it was kind of this is when it all had to work out, especially the trip to deliver them before it got very hot. So yeah, that's just kind of, everything's all crammed. So we've just been super stressed the last several weeks. So I hope that gives kind of a good reasoning why you've missed Farm Tour Tuesdays. It's been dry. I can say that as far as what the farm looks like right now. We'll of course walk around a bit, but dry. That's what the farm looks like. We have hardly gotten any rain. I've had several neighbors around that are talking about how much rain they've gotten, and I'm just super jealous, because we have gotten almost nothing. It's bad. I can't believe we're entering into, since we have gotten maybe 2 inches since beginning of April. So April, May, June, yeah, maybe 2 inches in 3 months, which is not normal for southern Missouri. So our farm, right, not the surrounding area. The surrounding area is pretty bad too, but our farm and the couple of little farms that are around us, just at the top of this hill, it seems because if you go 10, 15 miles down the road, they've been getting pretty consistent rain. Still not great, but fairly consistent. Yeah, so there's that. Trying to think of what else to hit that's happened in these last couple weeks. Oh, we took those 5 pigs into the processor. That happened after the 30th, so I think, yeah, you would have missed that too. So we took in the 5 big feeders into the processor. They were way bigger than I thought. They were between 340 and up, and Cupcake was huge. She was 470, but I'd realized Cupcake was 14 months old. 470 at 14 months old, still big, and she was overweight. I'm not saying she was svelte at 470. She was very overweight, but at the same time, that is big for a 14-month-old IPP, especially since neither of her parents were that big. They were okay, but not that big. And then the others, they were friendly gal getting a scratch. They were all 11, 12-ish months old, because they were 2 different litters. And they were, yeah, so 340 at that. They were big. And honestly, a couple of them hit 370, 380. So that was pretty insane. I didn't realize how big they were, and that caused me to not realize how big these other ones were. I thought these other ones were pretty small, because when the vet asked for Copa's weight or his age for CVIs, I had to look it up, because I just didn't know off the top of my head. He was 8 months old. And I was like, oh my God, 8 months old? He's really small for 8 months. Why not tape weight him? And tape weight had set around 240-ish. I thought, oh shoot, well, okay, that's about right for what an 8-month-old should be. When we scaled him at the show, threw him on the scale, he was 235. So not far off from what the tape weight said, and right where he should be for 8 months. So that means these other ones are all, because they're about his same size. They're all, except for the friendly gal who's pushing me, because she's trying to rub on this gate and I'm on the other side of the gate. So she's a little smaller. She's probably about 200, but the others are all on par for that, if not a little bigger on a couple of them. So we can pan around and show you that. They're all eating their dinner. We're trying to eat out of the fence row here. So yeah, so they're all big. They're ready to go. Honestly, like usually would take them a little bit bigger, but they could leave right now and I'd be fine. Which we can roll from that into our next thing and just go ahead and knock all this out for you guys before big scratches before we kind of show you where everybody else is. So you know that the only sows we have left on the farm at this point are Donut and Ginger, and then the only boar on the farm is Copa. And then we have these 5 feeders, and now she's sitting on it. And then we have Copa's Barrow Tubby Boy, and then we have 18 piglets total. Dose is 1, who's tagged as a breeder, and then and she was the other multi-generational experiment working down that I think I have succeeded at what I wanted out of that. She's a perfect 7-7 underlined. She has no wattles, so that's a little sad, but again, that's not my final decision on a piglet. So I will keep them even if they don't have wattles. Like, they can still meet my growth requirements and my underline requirements and their snout requirements and general body build and leg condition requirements. And she does, she hits all of those. So I'm real happy with it. And her mom, litter of 12, litter of 11, her first go. So I'm, yeah, as far as production wise, happy, very happy. But then there were the 7 from Dottie's. All of them made it to wean, and then 10 from Oatmeal. Well, all of them except that one little runty one that he didn't make it the day. And then Oatmeal's, she wound up weaning 10 out of her 12 that she had. So I ran the numbers while I was castrating today, and that gave us a 87.5% weaning rate for all 3 of this season's litters, which stellar. That's like, I was curious, so I looked it up, because I've heard people on podcasts say 80% is a great rate, and I'm just like, man, that seems a little low. And I looked it up, and industry standard loss is anywhere between 13.5 and 17% in a confinement house. And we're managing out on pasture or just in these little farrowing yards with plenty of access in these A-frames to only have a 12.5% loss on this season's 3 litters. So I'm gonna take that. That's awesome. And then there was one other number that I ran this morning I was really happy with. It was our weaning rate. I don't remember what the other one was, but weaning rate I was really happy with. The amount that I have registered out of these litters. So we registered really high on doses, and I just thought maybe I'm screwing up because I registered 4 out of 12, and I was like, man, are my standards dropping? And I knew there were some reasons why I chose that high. Some of them out of her litter that I might not have normally done, because they'd had a couple pins, or one had 1 pin and one had 2 that I think are actually functional, but I was like, I can't quite decide because you're so small. So they weaned him a little, or evaluated me a little younger. The gal that's left has a perfect 7-7, but like, I knew I wanted to keep out of dose because she's going to have a very limited run. So I knew I wanted to keep on the higher end of that, which that was still 25% because she had a litter 12. The 2 litters I evaluated today, I kept 1 from each litter. And that was it. So that put me for an overall from these 3 litters total, an 18.5% breeder rate. So I'm doing pretty good. I am not upset about that. I wish that a few more of these had been a little better and we'd been able to keep a little more, but I worry sometimes that I'm keeping too many, even at my 25 to 33% retention rate, which is my want to talk down to amount, but it worked out great because I don't think about that until the end. I make it till the end and then look and go, okay, well, how many are left? Do I need to get rid of some more? Or should I maybe look a little closer at some of the ones I've already tossed? I usually don't do that. Usually it is, if you've been no, you're no. And if you're a yes, you still might be a no type situation. And with these litters, that's where it wound up, was like 18-something% overall. So pretty happy. Obviously way below it. It was right at 25% for doses. way below for the others, 1 out of 10. So what that's 1 out of 10 on each. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to try to do the math. I'm actually getting really tired. It has been a long day doing all of that, and then lots of other stuff today. But yeah, so yeah, that's where we're at with those. Those are evaled. Those are castrated. We had a lot of boars in these litters, so I've got like 10 barrows, and then like, I guess that'd be 5 feeder gilts. Yeah, 5 feeder gilts, because then 2 breeder gilts puts me up to the 17, and then 18 adding in the other gal. So lots. And so I know I've rambled on for like 16 minutes now, and you haven't really got to see a whole lot of what's happened on the farm, and it is starting to get, sun is starting to set a little. But one last big thing, the big shocking thing that I want you guys to know, is that we've made some big changes, or making some big changes. We're continuing. We're not just downsizing. We are completely getting out of farming here altogether. So, and I know I like, big shocker. It's a big shocker to me. It's a big life change for me, because we've been doing this for well over a decade now. And it not like, don't worry about the YouTube channel. Like, it's going to shift focus a little, but not so much that should freak you guys out. So we are needing to sell these 5 feeders, plus, I mean, Tubby Boy, but I assume he'll go with Copa. Whoever gets Copa, I'll probably just give them Tubby Boy. But then we're going to sell Tubby Boy or Copa, and we're going to sell our last 2 sows. And then obviously these 2 litters of piglets, or 3 litters technically, because the 1 gal. So if you are interested in those, shoot me a message. But we will, my hope is those 2 are due like August 7th-ish. So I would like to have them gone either before then, or like, if you're gonna get only a couple of weeks to it before you can pick them up, then they're gonna have to wait till after. But if you can get them before then, stellar. I do have one guy that is interested in Copa, the 2 sows, and the little gilt. I don't know that they're gonna take Copa, at least because his father is litter mate to the 2 gals they got from me, so we'll see. But if you're interested, reach out, because yeah, if they do drop off, I want to be able to let you on, or if you just want 1 or 2 and they wind up taking the others, great. But then there's also the feeder pigs here, and these other litters of piglets, 2 breeder gilts, and then potentially the other one if they don't take her. So lots of pigs to home. But yeah, so we're gonna sell a lot of them. Hopefully within the next, well, before August, we'll have everybody out of here. Got a bug, all the bugs, tons of bugs. And then I've got something crazy that may wind up happening, that is gonna throw a weird monkey wrench in some of our plans, but it will be good for us. That will give you guys an insane amount of really cool content if it comes through. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, that I don't jinx it, because that would be really cool. And so I'm just gonna leave that as a surprise, follow along and find out, because I don't know the answer yet on that one, waiting on a response. But beyond that, our plans for the next couple of years is we're going to finish renovating our house, continue to maintain the stuff that we have on this land, because what we would like to do is at the end of 2 years here, to give us enough time to get everything kind of figured out, kitchen renovation done and all of that, we want to get a camper and travel around the country for 3 years in a camper and go to various farms and other national parks and places like that and work on those for 3 years. We really missed being able to travel around and do that kind of stuff when we were younger, because we just went straight into, I got my first farm management job at 18 years old, dropped out of college getting my animal science degree to go manage a bison ranch. So like we just kind of dropped and immediately hopped into farming and have been doing it ever since. So we'd like to take that chance to go out and do stuff. And my focus lately has really been, or my interest has really been big on conservation and farming aren't 2 separate things. Good farming is conservation, and good conservation can help farming, because there's tons of food sources. That's what, I mean, we look at how this land used to be managed. There were food forests and fields out there that, like, so much food can grow through these. We just need to work with them. And when we do good conservation, our farms thrive, creating all of those beneficial insects that take out the negative insects, like our dung beetles reducing our parasite loads, all of these birds helping to reduce our fly loads, like so many things that when we work on that conservation aspect of it, we do so much good. So I would like to take those 3-ish years and focus on visiting farms that are doing that kind of thing and showcasing them on the YouTube channel and stuff like that. Like, here's what this farm is doing to make this right, or here's what this national park is doing that is working with these grazers that are coming in and leasing. Here are different practices that you can put in place on your farm that's been successful here. I've really, for whatever reason, been interested in, I don't like seafood a whole lot, but I really love the process. And so I'd love to go down to Florida and see them hunting lionfish down there, or spearfishing for lionfish, and how that's being used to resolve that invasive species. Sargassum weed in a lot of places. Visit some crabbing boats and lobster boats and show off some of the sustainable practices that they do. And just all of this, there's so much different stuff that I would love to be able to show off how conservation and agriculture marry together to make both of them do a better job. So that's what I'd like to do and kind of work towards. So if you're interested in that, be prepared. I'll start shifting the content a little bit towards that, depending on this other secret. If this other thing comes through, you're gonna get a lot from that too. That's a lot of farming, like cool regen farming. We'll see for those 2 years. And then you also get the camper renovation, I'd imagine. You'll finish getting the kitchen renovation. So yeah, there'll be a lot coming through. But what we want to do, right, we're not giving up our farm. We have dumped so much into this place to make this a cool thing. And for us, a huge thing when we got into farming was that we just kept having to work on other people's farms. We couldn't get our own farm because we couldn't afford to get land. And then once we got it, it took us forever to get any infrastructure in that really allowed us to be successful. And we finally have that. So what we would like to do is we would like to, at the end of those 2 years, unless this other thing kind of derails that, and then maybe sooner, we would like to lease our farm out to another young couple, or not necessarily young, but it tends to be us young folks who don't have as much money, but really anybody that is interested in continuing our conservation and farming work on this property, utilizing our cross fencing, utilizing the silvopasture that we have been putting in. A lot of these trees will be fruiting within the next few years. We just put in a ton of apples and pear trees. So utilizing all of that, we've already got the barrel waters, we've already got the bulk bin, we've already got all these shelters. So much stuff that is already established to run a successful small scale pasture-based farm or homestead. Even if you just come out here, throw a couple cows out here, some sheep, some pigs for you and your family, and some chickens and ducks, whatever, as long as the land is being utilized to, maintain these populations of insects and trees and forages. That's what I want. I want somebody to be able to regeneratively feed their family off this stuff, and maybe the rest of the community too. So that's what we would like to do. Fingers crossed. If you are interested in that kind of thing and you think that 2-year time frame kind of lines out for you, shoot me a message. I'd love to chat with you and see if you'd be a good fit. Keeping in mind, you'd get a house too with a brand new kitchen and a pretty well brand new bathroom. So with a massive kitchen island. I'm putting in like a 3-foot by 7-foot butcher block kitchen island in there, and one of those big farmhouse sinks. So kind of sad to lose all of that, but that's okay. The plan is after those 3 years, so 5 years out from now, we're gonna move, unless we stay on the road for another year or two, continuing to find more cool stuff. I don't know. The goal is spring of 2028, we land out in the Willamette Valley and we start up another homestead there. And that will be a homestead. That will not be a production farm. I will not be producing stuff to sell anymore. It will just be, let's build a house, and a small house, and start raising food for us again, because that's what I enjoy. And so we'll be able to show that off to you guys again. So I've got years of content planned out for you guys. So don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. Just expect things to be kind of weird over the next few weeks. Like I said, we're going on a 10-day trip. So you're not gonna get a Farm Tour Tuesday next week. And it's actually starting to get, I'm surprised my phone is picking this up. It's actually getting pretty dark here. It's like 8:30 now. I'll walk through some of these fields and kind of show you what everything looks like, but I think we're at 24 and a half minutes. I'm so sorry, long chat. But this gives you guys an idea of here's what to expect over the next couple of years. I'd love suggestions. If you've got farms that you'd think that I should hit, then feel free to let me know. Or any, like I said, not just farms. We want to work around national parks that are doing stuff with conservation and agriculture together. Anything like that is sustainable and regenerative food production of some sort, working with that kind of stuff. I'm all about it. And if you've met me in person, you know that that's what gets me excited. So that's what I'd like to do. If you know any places like that, send them my way. If you're interested in leasing our farm, or if you're interested in buying any of our pigs that we currently have before they're gone in the next couple of months, month or two, well, let me know. Beyond that, let's go ahead and take a quick walk around and show you what everything is looking like. So the feeder pigs had moved here the week before last. So they were in paddock number 1, and you can see it is really starting to recover. If we had some more rain, that area down there would recover the rest of the way, but it's just little tiny seedlings, not quite kicking in. Everybody's taking a nap. They're kind of done. They're nice and full. This is why I like feeding in the afternoon. Then they get these nice full bellies right before they go to bed versus while it's hot out for the rest of the day. They've been in here for 2 weeks now because I wanted to leave them in here for an extra week to kind of play around with. If it rains, I'll shoot them in that middle one. That middle one has so little shade. It's really just got those couple of willow trees, and then the rest of the little line in their shelters, and that's it. So that paddock gets really, really hot. Here they have that big mulberry, this mulberry, that honey locust, and their shelter. So they have tons of shade in this one. So what we're gonna do is tomorrow, because I know normally we move on Tuesday, but today was real busy. Tomorrow they'll skip that one and go down to one of those pond paddocks. But you can see even 2 weeks, they've laid the grass down where they've been wandering around. But that's it. This is all still big, tall grass. And then of course, the hemlock, which has not affected them. They've been in here with the hemlock for 2 weeks and they just smash it down. They have not had any issues from it at all. And honestly, some of that even looks like chew marks, but again, has not caused any issues. So I really like it from the standpoint of the flowers. I will be happy when some of it reduces in area. It has continually dropped every year, the less amount of area that it occupies. And I keep saying I'll get out here and scythe it down, but that chestnut's looking really good. But it hasn't caused any issues yet, so I'm not that worried. And I didn't refill their wallow up today. It's been draining because it's been so dry. I have to fill their wallows nearly daily. So I didn't fill it today because I knew tomorrow morning, I kept thinking I'll get to it today. I'll move them today. And it didn't happen. So they'll move tomorrow. So that's why I didn't refill their wallow. But then, oh my gosh, I think maybe we can hop this. They're really messing with this cord down here. I know it's still hot because they shocked themselves. Whoa. Hoping I don't get shocked. There. You guys got a video of me climbing over a fence, sorry. So this paddock's doing good. We're taking it up here because this is where Ginger and Donut are. This wallow is always fantastic. This is the one right here where everything flows through and runs off the farm. So that fence line acts as that big swale, stopping all the water, creating a nice big wallow for us. Claire brushed the dogs earlier, so it looks like, I don't know, it looks crazy. Anytime there's that much hair. When we had sheep, I was just like, oh my God, did we lose a sheep? But these guys are looking good. They have been in here for 2 weeks too because everybody was moved over here, but they had access to, or no, they were just in here. The others had got pulled forwards to that one before they got loaded. And then now it's just been them. They'll move up one, so they'll be in paddock 1. Actually, honestly, you know what, guys, with as hot as it is, I'm probably either gonna just leave them in here or I'll let them run with the feeders and combo them in the feeders and bump them with the feeders over here to this one. What, Miss Lady? Yes, hi. But yeah, so while they're in here, I'll close that gate back there. I've got it open and let everybody only have this one. And then if we're lucky, maybe things will cool down. It's supposed to be like 100 something this week, like 103 is the high for day after tomorrow. But they're calling for some slight chances of rain. They're like 30% chances for multiple days this week. So I'm not going to believe that until it happens. Yeah. And then that sun is gone over the horizon. So to be fair, and I did just realize that I filmed the whole rest of that with my phone facing the wrong direction. Also, got a pumpkin. These are the pumpkins. We threw them over the fence. I did just realize that I filmed that whole first section in vertical, so I do apologize for that. I'll try to make that edit out to where it doesn't look ridiculous, but we'll see. Yeah, I think we'll call that good, showing the two groups. The piglets are all freaking out because caught them and castrated them today. They're not very happy with me. They're all fine. They're just running everywhere. And right after they have incisions, I don't like making them freaked out. And so me sitting there talking a bunch and, walking around and trying to show them off will do that. So before I leave, I'll get some footage of them in there and show them. But I just don't want to do that while they're all worked up still. And then Copa and Tubby are fine as is. If you saw the short, that was just a couple days ago that was filmed. Oh my gosh, no, it was the 18th. It's the 27th. That was 6 days ago. No, 7 plus 8. That was 9 days ago. Oof. 9 days. Not much has changed in 9 days. They really haven't done any damage to that paddock beyond, just because it's mostly it's really rapidly converting over to common ragweed, which they eat some of. They don't really like common ragweed. They love giant ragweed. So anywhere that leans a little too far towards their fence, they pull it down. And they still get some time in the backyard, so they get to eat some of it out of the backyard. But yeah, Cuber's playing around behind me. Anywho, all right. So I'm not going to bother walking all the way over there. I still realize I have to come back this way, grab all 4 of those buckets, go in, and then we'll start on dinner. So, all right. I hope that's some interesting news to you guys and that you're excited for the potential stuff to come. I've got my mixed feelings. I'm super excited about the positive parts of the change. Super bummed to no longer be doing this and to be getting out of this breed that I love so much. Keep that in mind. I'm not getting out of this because I don't like IPPs. I'm getting out of this because I'm frustrated for selling pork at a price that isn't quite, like selling the volume of pork at a price that is livable. Because I can sell 5 to 10 a year without, that's doable. I can do that. But it's trying to sell 20 to 30 a year at the prices I need. That's where we've been struggling. So that's where I'm like, okay, well, I can't do it at the volume I want. So in order to make a decent living off of it, right? So like with just me managing the farm. If it was still the two of us working on it together, then maybe, but Claire is done with the farm and I don't blame her. Like she's been in this for 10 years. She's seen it run me through the ringer for this whole time. And she's been doing it way longer than I have because she grew up on a small farm and I did not. So I totally understand where she's at. This is just not what she wants to do for a living anymore. And that's fine. It is still what I enjoy. So our compromise was the road tripping, which like I said, I'm still really excited about. So that's great. It's just the stopping doing this for now. And then we'll get back to it when we get out there. So it was a whole bunch of things just came together kind of at once. So, but that is what it is. I hope you guys are excited about the stuff to come up. I hope you're looking forward to it. If there's anything special you would like me to hit on, or you've got suggestions for place to go, or you're interested in the pigs, like I said, reach out. Beyond that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you to our Patreon supporters, Raymond and Ashley Hunter. Raymond, I love being able to run stuff by you. Super appreciate that. And I love that Ashley has been able to do all of the IPPBA website stuff because I know that has taken a huge load off the rest of the folks on the board. So that's amazing. Super, super appreciate that. So shout out to Ashley for all of her awesome work on the website. And then shout out to Raymond for all the awesome conversations that we've got. Not sure what we're going to do with the Patreon going forwards. So yeah, just keep an ear out for that. If you have any suggestions on how that can be adjusted as we're shifting what the farm is doing, I still would not mind building a community of folks to get together and talk about that stuff. That's what that was about in the first place, and not necessarily about our particular farm. So I would still love to have those conversations and have people join us on Patreon for that. So I think we're still good with it where it is, but you guys can weigh in on that either way too. You guys have a great rest of your week, and I hope you made it through the 35-40 minutes of this. Have a good one.